Today, I want to share one unique case that just recently happened, and you need to hear this out. So, I had a client who just recently sold their house and they wanted to lease a house for 1 year, and they're going to buy a house next year when the market is more stable. So, when they approached me, they were looking to lease a house for 1 year. I found them a house. I got the house for them under the asking price for lease, and they paid 3 months upfront for the house. So what happened was when they moved in, they had the my clients had some argument with the downstairs tenant that downstairs tenant was saying something bad about my clients or something. So they called me at night and told me what happened. Long story short, I called the listing brokerage, and the listing brokerage called the landlord, and the landlord went there to resolve it. But I have no idea what happened there. But the next day, the landlord changed the locks of my client's house. So my client's already moved in, and the landlord, I don't know who told the landlord that he could do that, but he just went there and changed the locks, and my client's clothes were inside. Like all their stuff was inside, they already moved in the house. So they called me, they were panicked in the morning. So they told me like all this stuff happened, and I said, don't panic, calm down. Let me talk to the listing brokerage, what's going on. So this is unique. Just hear this out. So when I called the listing brokerage, I asked him like what happened. So he said the owner needs to change some lights or something in the house. That's why nobody could live there. He just made up a story, and he said like the lease has not been started yet. So let me tell you a bit about how the lease was prepared by me. So they were supposed to move in 1st of July. So, but the landlord approved that they could move in like 3 or 4 days before, and they don't have to pay for that rent. So on the lease agreement, I changed the date to 22 or 23rd of June. So that was the move-in date that the landlord agreed to, and the landlord also initialed that. So the listing brokerage, even though he got the sign of the landlord and agreed to that, he forgot about that. So he assumed that the lease was gonna start from 1st July, and he thought he had the rights to change the locks, even though if it was 1st July and my clients moved in, he had no rights to change the locks after they had the possession. But I don't know who was guiding the listing brokerage, and the listing brokerage was also the broker of record who listed that property. I'm not going to tell the brokerage name, but it was a big brokerage. And so what happened was after they changed the locks, they were in big trouble. And I knew that like they did something wrong with my clients, and my clients had to stay in a hotel for that night. So I advised my clients to go to a lawyer and talk to him about it because this is a legal matter now, because the offer was firm and they did something wrong to you. And yes, of course, you can proceed legally with them. So when they went to the lawyer said that you could file a case to them and you'll get like around 40, 50,000, whatever. If you win the case, and they would have won the case. But after that, I was still in touch with the listing brokerage and was trying to tell them that you know what you did, like that's totally against the rules law that you did. You can't go there and change the locks of a tenant when he is already in possession of the house. Like that's totally illegal. So they were trying to make up some matter. They got some property management involved and all that. And my clients were scared. I said, you don't have to be scared. You did nothing wrong. And yeah, so let me just have in touch with them and let me see what they're trying to do. Are they trying to scam you? Because your stuff is still inside and you can't even go. Your jewelry's inside, everything's inside. But let me just have a talk to them and let's see. So the owner at the end was willing to pay them $10,000 for changing the locks. Clients had three options. I put them straight up. First, go legally. Legally, it's gonna take you around a year or so, 8 months to in a year, and you will definitely win that, and you'll get around 40, 50, whatever the court decides. You'll get that amount. The second option is you could get the $10,000 from the landlord right now, since he'd made a mistake. Now, when I told them about it, when I showed them the offer, they knew they made a mistake and their listing brokerage screwed them up, the owner. So they could now get $10,000 in cash and move out of the house if they wanted to. The third option was you could stay there. If you don't want the money, you don't want it, you could also stay there. They'll give you the lockbox number and they won't do anything like that ever again, and they'll sign that. So my client really liked that place. They had the money in their bank account. They did not care about the money. They have plenty of money in their bank account right now. So they didn't care about the money. The only thing is the house was really nice and it was just next to their friend's house. So that's why they really wanted to move into that house. So they did not care about the money. So at the end, they told me they want to stay in that house. They don't want the 10,000 or do the legal case. But they don't want any problem with the downstairs tenant and not from the landlord. So I said, is that your final decision? Because after you tell me that and I tell them that, then you can't go back and take 10,000 or go legally at them. Then it's gonna be firm. But I'll make sure that the basement people and the landlord, they don't bother you regarding anything like whatever happened before. So they agreed mutually, and yeah, it got resolved. But yeah, this is a learning message, because if my clients were someone else, they weren't like these guys were really nice. They didn't want to screw up anyone. They didn't want money from the landlord. But if it was someone else, they could have screwed up the listing brokerage, their landlord, everyone. Like, so when you're trying to sell or lease your house, make sure the the person you're hiring knows legally like what to do. Like in this situation, the listing brokerage, he was the broker recorder, like I told you. He gave the wrong guidance to the landlord, which screwed him up. If my clients wanted to, they could have taken the $10,000. They could have gone legally and made the landlord pay $40,000-$50,000 from his pocket, just because the listing agent told him to do something which was illegal. So make sure whenever you're hiring a realtor, a broker, he should know like what to do at what place. So that's all for today. I'm gonna share a lot of stories like this, what's happened to with me and what's going on, and you'll be interested. Like, this is not the worst story ever. Like, I have many, many more that's I'm gonna share with you in following weeks. So make sure to follow me for more stories like this.